Hello everyone, welcome to Motivation Mondays. Today I want to talk about a way to checkmate the disorder by lowering your threshold for identifying the disorder. What am I talking about? Well, to begin, remember the good news and the great news about OCD recovery. The good news is that you suffer from a disorder that is treatable. The great news is that you have all the power to do what is necessary to recover already within you. If you are familiar with my work, you know that I write and speak a lot about changing your perspective and having a strategy. I love using analogies and metaphors involving the game of chess. In the game of chess, you win if you checkmate your opponent's king, which means the king is in check and has no legal moves to escape. There are many ways to checkmate OCD. Today, let me focus on checkmating OCD early in the process. It happens at the very beginning of the strategy when OCD taps you on the shoulder. Among my 5 ground rules for defeating OCD, ground rules 3, 4, and 5 were the rules I tried to implement when OCD raised its ugly head or tapped me on the shoulder. The first rule I tried to implement when I got a disturbing thought that started to give me anxiety was to identify the thought and attribute it to OCD. But that's so hard. How do I know it's OCD, you're asking? Well, here's your answer. Based on what we understand about OCD itself and how it goes about getting what it wants from us, we can deduce that achieving certainty is not our objective. Why? Because OCD will never let us have it about anything. We must learn to move forward despite the uncertainty. At the identify and attribute stage, you do not need to know the thought, image, urge, or feeling is coming from OCD. We can lower the threshold. Any slight suspicion that OCD might possibly be the source is more than enough for you to attribute it to OCD. But how do I know if I have a slight suspicion, you ask? Actually, that's OCD whispering that question to you. Well, follow the trail of clues. You have OCD. It's acting like OCD. It's intrusive, repetitive. It's giving you anxiety, leading you to do something to try to get some certainty or relief from anxiety. It feels like OCD. If you have OCD, you know what I'm talking about. Basically, if it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it's a duck. Even if the duck is telling you, I'm a goose. In fact, the debate about whether you have reached the suspicion threshold is enough for you to tag this as OCD. If you say to me, but I don't want to be wrong, or the risk is too great to be wrong, I would simply remind you that your reasons for recovery are more important to you than your fear or need for immediate certainty. You can call OCD's bluff here. Throughout the strategy to make OCD weaker, if you remove your perceived need for certainty off the table, by showing OCD that you are willing to move forward despite uncertainty, you will have checkmated OCD. Doing this at the identify and attribute stage represents a huge strategic advantage for you over OCD. Exploit this strategic advantage. OCD can be defeated. I'm with you. Let's go.